The Summer Game Fest showcase happened yesterday, and it was actually really cool this time. Unlike last year, quite a lot of games popped up that I'm hyped for or at least keeping in mind. Sadly, most of these developers bought a CG trailer and maybe a few seconds of gameplay, so we lack details on a lot of these. There was also that PlayStation State of Play or whatever that happened a week ago. It wasn't super interesting by itself, so I'm including those announcements here as well. I'm Tatu, and this is really just a quick compressed look at the events. I gotta admit, this is more of a burner video, because none of the announcements were enough to really make a video out of them by themselves. By the way, you might hear bird noises in the background. I can't do much about them, so sorry about that. Anyways, let's get started. The first game I wanted to talk about is Stormgate, and the reason why is that, let's be honest, they kinda did a terrible job hyping themselves with the mediocre trailer and minimal gameplay. But I'm gonna tell you why this game is actually pretty important. Remember StarCraft? The original esports that unceremoniously died cause Blizzard. Well, the team, Frost Giant Studios, is founded by a bunch of ex-Blizzard employees, and they are essentially here to pick up what Blizzard kinda just abandoned. That not so amazing cinematic was actually in-engine footage, not CG pre-rendered animation. They probably just pushed it out when they were told that they got a spot on the show. So the sound design was clearly kind of unfinished. They probably shouldn't have done this. Just give us gameplay. Really, we are buying the game, not the cinematics. They are planning to make this free to play, by the way. So I and many others think that this game may help to actually revive the RTS genre. For more details, I recommend checking out GiantGrantGames' video on the topic. Links for everything I mentioned will be in the description below. The biggest winners of this E3 season so far are the horror lovers. They should be very happy with the last two presentations, cause the amount of horror games is staggering. Resident Evil 4 Remake and Resident Evil Village VR were announced during the State of Play. Callisto Protocol, the Dead Space spiritual successor, got some new footage. Routine, another sci-fi horror game, was shown and it looks kinda cool. It also looks kind of Dead Spacey, and I'm fine with that. Dead Space is a really great game. We really didn't see much about it, gameplay-wise though, and I'm kinda sad about that. There was also a thriller game called Fort Solis that also gave off similar vibes to the last two. We got a trailer for Layers of Fear, a game from the team behind the Medium, so they may actually use the tag they randomly trademarked. We really should push back more against this shit, to be honest. Honestly, to me, the least interesting of the bunch was The Last of Us Part 1 Remake. It doesn't look that different from the PlayStation 4 version. It's gonna cost $70, and the second game kinda just poisoned the well for me. If you really love the first game, go for it, sure, but it doesn't look like a good deal to me. I suppose after talking about a strategy game and a bunch of horror games, I should mention Alien Dark Descent. It's an Aliens game that's played from a top-down perspective. Yeah, I'm not really interested. They played a CG trailer and I thought this would be another horror shooter, but then they showed like 3 seconds of gameplay. This is not okay, they need to stop with this shit. They showed Call of Duty gameplay for a whole 13 minutes, and it looks like COD. Wow, what a surprise. I guess they are at least letting the game do the talking, even if it has very little to say. Witchfire reappeared. This game was teased 4 years ago. Teasing games this far before they are done is just really irritating at this point. It still looks cool though. Back to strategy we go with Marvel's Midnight Suns. We got a CG trailer and that's about it, but it's developed by the people behind XCOM, so I have fairly high expectations for this one. Editing Tatu here, we actually have gameplay. They didn't show anything during the showcase, but there's a lot on YouTube. The FGC got some Street Fighter 6 gameplay at the start of both showcases. It's cool. I'm not that into Street Fighter, but it sure as hell looks better than the last one. I gotta say, I really like the paint splatter effect, but Street Fighter pros play almost exclusively on the ugliest grid to not get distracted and for visual clarity, so they might actually grow to hate this. I guess we'll see. Horizon fans got a bone after they got crushed for the second time. They are making a completely separate game for VR. It has completely new characters, including the player character, and it looks promising. Let's hope this one doesn't get crushed by, I don't know, Alex 2 or something. Honkai Star Rail and Zenless Zone Zero got new trailers. I'm hyped for both of them, because I was a Genshin addict for like 14 months. But realistically, we got absolutely nothing new from either of these. I hope we get a Zenless beta in the near future, because visually the game looks great, but I don't even know if it's an action game or not. We got a few DLCs. In my opinion, the only one worth mentioning is the Cuphead DLC. It's basically a sequel rather than a DLC, and Cuphead is really good, so it's always welcome. The last thing I found worth paying attention to was Warhammer 40k Dark Tide. A game that's basically just Vermintide, but 40k! If you are into 40k lore like me, you might be interested, otherwise, it's literally just Vermintide. There were obviously other games at the show, but I really don't have much to say about them. If you are interested in the full show, it's down in the description below, but it's 2 hours long, and despite this one being much better than the last, it was still pretty boring at times. Anyways, I was Tatu. Thank you for watching. Please comment, like and whatnot for the YouTube algorithmic gods, and have a nice day.